The following program will make you want to grow things and experience new and wonderful dreams about your plants, garden, and garden design. Listener participation is always strongly advised. Good evening and welcome to Down the Garden Path with your hosts, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live this evening in the studio, email us. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right to your hosts of Down the Garden Path, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Down the Garden Path. Welcome, Matthew.
Hello, Joanne.
I want to welcome everybody to Down the Garden Path, where each week we discuss down-to-earth tips and advice for your plants, gardens, and landscapes. As landscape designers and gardeners ourselves, we think it is important and possible to have great gardens that are low maintenance, and we, along with our guests, want to help you make it happen. I'm Joanne Shaw, landscape designer and owner of Down to Earth Landscape Design for the past 11 years. It is a design-only business here east of the GTA. And with me is Matthew Dress. With me on this snowy April day, which we have to get it in somehow. We can't believe how much it's snowing.
That's it. Can you believe it?
I know. So with me on this snowy day is Matthew Dressing. Hello there.
Hey, Joanne, and welcome, everyone. I am Matthew Dressing, horticulturist and landscape designer and owner of Natural Affinity Designs. Natural Affinity is a landscape design and garden maintenance firm servicing Toronto and the eastern GTA. And you know, Joanne and I enjoy doing Down the Garden Path each week, bringing you interesting, relevant, and helpful topics to help you achieve a great garden. We learn right along with you from each other, from our research, and from the guests that join us here on the show. So, as always, we welcome your questions via social media and emails.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us here. Wow. So we know everybody might not quite be in the gardening mood, but we hope we still bring you an exciting and informative show tonight. Right, Matthew?
Exactly, despite all the crazy weather we've been having.
That's right.
And tonight, yes, we have our guest is Shane Jones of Durham College, a local college here in the GTA, east of the GTA in Durham region. So Shane has worked in horticulture since he was a teenager, first in tropical plants and interior plantscapes, and then with landscape design and construction. Shane then stepped into the role of educator in 2005 and taught at the secondary level with Bendale BTI in Scarborough and at the college level with Humber College, and is now and joins us as the coordinator for horticultural technician and horticulture, food, and farming with Durham College. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You were also saying how bummed we all are about the snow.
Well, I thought the winter was over, but apparently it's decided to kick around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
What can you do?
I know. Mother Nature. So I'm really looking forward to hearing all about the program and all the horticultural stuff you have happening in Durham College.
I'm looking forward to telling you all about it. Where can I start for you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
and Matthew will start for that.
Sorry. So program coordinator, that's a very big title. It looks like you've got 2 programs that you're actually coordinating. So what are some of the responsibilities as being a program coordinator?
Well, program coordinator, I guess. It sounds like a big responsibility. It is quite a bit, but it's not as lofty as you might imagine. So I am coordinator for horticulture technician, which is a 2-year diploma, and the horticulture food and farming technician, which is also a 2-year diploma. What I basically do is I look after the programs, not from a course by course sort of standpoint, but from a more lofty view, just to make sure that it's on track with what needs to be done as far as, getting students prepared for industry and making sure that we're servicing industry in the way that we need to get graduates ready for them, and help to do the reviews, and it's more or less just a bunch more paperwork.
Yeah.
But, it's the important part, so I'm willing to step up.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so the horticulture program in Durham, how long is it? It's fairly new.
It is. We're the new kids on the block, that's for sure. The Hort Technician program has been running now for 6 years. We'll have our 5th set of graduates coming through.
Okay.
And food and farming is just 1 year younger. They started 1 year after the Hort Technician, so we're 5 years in.
Wow, that's great.
It feels strange to say that, to tell you the truth. I mean, it feels like it's been a long time, and it also feels like it's been the blink of an eye.
Right.
So.
And how many graduates have you each year?
That really does depend. We've seen a lot of inconsistencies as far as it's been strange. I'll say. I mean, I taught in the high school, and it's a very different perspective. And you're seeing your students, from grade 9 through 12, and they just kind of ramble through. And the post-secondary, from a program coordinator's position, now I'm seeing more and more. Each year we get more and more graduates as the program continues to build, and we gain a little bit of notoriety. So now we're looking at taking in students, capping at around 22 to 24 per year. And by the time we get through on the graduations, usually 12 to 14.
Wow. So
next year we'll be looking at the Hort Technician program doubling up. We're at that point now where we filled our program, what it normally would have been full program, in February. So here we go, getting bigger.
Right. So you're finding there's more of a demand.
There is, now that we've got our name out there. I mean,
right.
We're certainly not as established as some of the other post-secondary institutions and their horticulture programs, but after some hard program building over these last few years, it's gaining that notoriety that we were hoping.
Well, that's good, and that's what we're hoping to help you with that too, right? By promoting that. I know I when I looked for hort courses 10 years ago, I ended up having to go to Ryerson because there was nothing east of the city, So
well, that's it.
Yeah.
I had to do the same thing. There was nothing locally where you could get the education that we wanted. So, off to the big city we went.
Yep. Yeah. So I think it's great, and that's what we've been really wanting you to be on the show so that we could promote this. Also, we both work in the industry, and so we know that we need to hire we need to train these kids and or adults, right?
Well, we're getting all across the spectrum, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for, really. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was. Okay, well, I'm not going to date myself. Let's put it that way. But way back when I finally decided with my career path that it was something that I had to be doing, not just wanted to be doing, but I had to be doing horticulture, and I made that decision. I see these students coming in that same way, but from this coordinator's position, I really want to make sure that I'm addressing the needs of the industry, and that's what's really important. Not only that we're giving the education that the students were hoping to get when they came in, but making sure that they're ready and that the employers are desiring our students.
Right.
So as you say, the employers desiring the students. So what courses specifically, or fields or areas, do you find that industry professionals are looking for you guys, to target your students into? Is there anything like that going on?
Well, it's okay. So I'll talk more about kind of what kind of courses are in the programs in a little bit. But
Sure.
as far as what students or what employers are asking for, to tell you the truth, I hear more often than not that it's the soft skills that we really need to be pushing as the students come through. I mean, yeah, there are some industry-specific skills, and they need to understand basics in botany or construction design, and in the food and farming, the understanding of processing or rules and regs and all that. But more often than not, for employers, what I need to hear is I need a positive person who's going to show up ready to work and be enthusiastic about what it is that they're doing, and that's just as important to foster than any of the other skills.
Wow, really?
So by soft skills, you mean like attitude, presentation, willingness, communication?
You betcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And that just shows you, so that's a transferable skill too, right?
Well, that's it, yeah. And I'm sure that you know too, in looking at hort technician programs, I mean, it's very broad what hort technician is. Our industry is massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so within a 2-year diploma, it's very hard to train, needle point exactly the skills that the student's going to need when we don't know if they're going to work in greenhouses or if they're going to work in construction or design, if they're going to be working in parks and rec or turf and golf courses. It's just There's so much from there. So if we can just teach them the basics so that they can think laterally and give them the professional and positive attitude that they need to enter the workforce, introduce them to the different industries, then that's really our mandate.
Excellent, excellent. So can you give an overview on the Hort Technician program for us?
Sure, yeah. So a Hort Technician, it sort of conforms to the idea of what a red-sealed horticulturalist is across Canada. And it includes a lot of the courses that would be landscape destruction. Well, sometimes.
Yeah, we do some destruction.
So landscape construction, principles of horticulture, the plant IDs and the annuals, perennials, woody trees and shrubs, as well as arboriculture and greenhouse production and environmental management, design. I'm sure I'm missing stuff.
Yeah.
Nursery management, parks and turf, all that stuff. All that is horticulture technician that the national system recognizes. That's what our program is about.
Okay.
Food and farming is different.
Okay.
So what's the difference mainly between your Hort Tech and then your food and farming tech or diploma?
So Hort Tech is everything I just said. And food and farming, because we don't have to conform to sort of a national standard. It really is a program all unto itself. We're able to fill it up with what we see we needed. And of course, talking with industry and local agriculture and stuff like that, we were able to define the program to the community and what they see as being the trends moving forward. And so without getting, landscape construction or arboriculture or anything like that, what they're going to get is stuff like fruits and vegetables production, as well as orchard management, stuff like that. IPM that is specific to the edibles industry. And then they go into stuff like chemistry, food chemistry specifically, processing, product development, the rules and regulations that bind us in that industry. All of that sort of stuff goes into what the food and farming is.
Okay. Are there any courses that are kids would take that are in both, or no?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And stuff like soils is one of them, greenhouse production, because, growing is growing.
Right.
Whether it be an edible or an ornamental, growing is growing. And so we try to, as much as possible, find ways for them to mingle and bridge. There's so many people coming into our program that just aren't sure which stream they wanted to go into. Like so many coming into Hortech that say, I wasn't sure about food and farm, and it really looked interesting, and vice versa. So we want to make sure that they have that ability to see both sides of it and give them opportunities.
That's great. That's great to do, for sure. Okay. We do have a question from Rita. She's asking about the course at Durham College as far as the price. Do you happen to know that information about?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what admissions has got it running through at this point.
Okay.
No. But admissions would be the ones to talk to.
Okay.
If you send a quick note to Durham College admissions, they would be the ones to tell you exactly. And I'd hate to misquote that number.
For sure. And it is a 2-year diploma.
It is a 2-year diploma.
Okay. Okay. And now we have Kyle asking, are there a lot of job prospects with this degree? He's saying degree, but it is a diploma. And he's asking how hard is the core subject. So, I mean, there is studying involved, right?
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah.
Job prospects I'll address first. The industry is absolutely, they're begging for good graduates and for people in this industry. I'm sure you already know that we're running out of good, skilled, enthusiastic, positive labor, and supervisors and all the way up. So our graduates are not having an issue getting jobs, and certainly with new industries coming into play in Ontario and across Canada, it's becoming even more in demand. So yeah, we're busy as far as getting graduates into jobs, and no shortage of people willing to hire them.
Yes.
As far as how hard are the courses, well, of course there's book study, and there are some concepts that take some studying. But I'm sure that with anything that you're really engaged about, it's not as much work as it is simply, like absorbing that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I know for me, because there is a bit of a hands-on element to it. So I think if you're a visual learner and a hands-on learner, it's not just PowerPoints. There is book study, I'm sure, but it's not all that, right? Like you do get.
It is definitely not all.
I
mean, not on a day like today, Joanne. But
no, not today.
Usually, as much as we can get outside and be hands-on, it really is the best way to learn anything. So
right.
That's what we want to promote.
Excellent. And I think that's great, because I think there's a lot of people that benefit from that type of learning.
I think everybody can benefit from that type of learning. Sure. I mean, there's certain things you can learn hands-on that we need the books for, and the chemistries and the botanies and that sort of stuff. But, there's just only so much you can read about pruning before you actually go out and do some pruning.
Right. Exactly. Oh, wow. Another question.
I was going to say, Dwayne wrote in, the program sounds really fun. Are there a lot of hands-on in the field training? So
yes. Like I said, we try to split things up pretty much 50-50 as much as possible and get the students out working. Also, throughout the summer, we do hire students on. There's a certain number of positions that we keep so that the students are able to work on campus from the end of semester 1 right up until the beginning of semester 2.
Ooh, that's
cool. And then they get a much broader chance to play with some of the ideas and the stuff that we have going on at Whitby campus, which is big for us.
Okay, that's great.
So how many students usually stay on through the summer to work?
Last year we had 10. This year we're hoping to hire as many as 15. There's still, I think, a couple spots that are missing from that. So many of our students come into the program already with jobs, so it's hard for us to entice them away. But 10 to 15, and depending on how the property grows and how our demand grows, we're hoping to be able to have some of the students working at the Oshawa campus as well from time to time, kind of rotate them through, because they've got an entirely different space up there to learn from. So.
Oh, okay. And is this those students, are they regardless of program?
We definitely try to encourage the people that are within food and farming and horticulture to apply to those positions. And certainly that's an asset, because they know what they're getting into as far as working outside and the type of labor that's involved. But we don't exclude anybody from that, and anybody that wants to apply is welcome to apply. Okay.
But were they more of the food and farming kids, do you think, or both?
It's a good mix of both. I think this year we might have a few more horts than food and farm. But as I said, there are so many people that came into the horticulture technician who wanted that farm experience. And so they could really kind of jump at this, I think, and it'll be good to give them that experience.
Excellent. Well, I don't know if many people outside the GTA know about the famous or infamous Bistro 67. So that is really a neat integration. I think everybody who hears about it, how we've integrated that restaurant into the horticultural program. Did you want to fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that really is kind of the real shining jewel of what it is that we're trying to do here, is that integration. When I was back at at the high school, and we kind of did the same thing in that there was a culinary program at the same high school, and the idea or the notion came up that, hey, maybe we could start growing food for that culinary program specifically and have that integration. And Durham has really modeled that, and with the Center for Food and Bistro 67. And I guess, some people still maybe even think that the Bistro is just a student sort of lab as it is. They don't realize it is a full working restaurant with a brilliant head chef, sous chef, complete staff, just a fantastic group who really support this idea, as well as the rest of the Center for Food and the programs that work in there really integrate well with what it is that we're trying to do. And let me explain what it is that we do.
Okay.
So what ends up happening, I'll take you from the start of the cycle. So sometime around December, the programs get together, the head chef, sous chef, as well as the culinary programs, the professors in there, and events programs, and they kind of give us their shopping list, what they need for the year. And so our farm planning students take over from there, and we start to design gardens to fit how many pounds of tomatoes, how many potatoes they need, carrots, okra, spinach, whatever it is that they need, hot peppers, and we fill out the gardens to meet those needs.
Excellent.
And so what we end up doing is starting from seedlings, obviously now, and hopefully soon planting in fields. We'll see.
Not next week, Shane.
No,
not next week.
It's not going to happen for a while yet. And I think maybe, we get a little jumpy when we start to see grass on the ground.
Yeah.
We want to get shovels in, but we all know that we need to wait a little bit.
Yes.
But and then we bring that food into the CFF, into the bistro, which is just a fantastic experience, not only for the guests who are in the restaurant and looking down and watching, the students and us harvest all the food and bring it right into the kitchen to come out to their plates, well, in some cases right into the kitchen. But not only that, the integration of the program so that the culinary students have a chance to get out into the fields and really understand what it is to see the food grow.
Mm-hmm.
And our students getting into the kitchens to see how it's processed and see how it's made into a plate that's heading out for a guest in the bistro.
Yeah, that is incredible.
So cool.
I know, it is so cool. And the menu and the everything at the bistro is amazing. I've eaten there a few times.
Same.
And it is very top quality. And you're right. I think it's a hidden gem because people don't realize it. That it really is a gourmet restaurant.
It is, yeah. It is brilliant. I don't often get a chance to go up there with my mucky boots and sit down at the table, but it is brilliant, and I really cherish that relationship we have.
And that just must be amazing for the students. And I know for the guests dining in the restaurant, you can look out and see the fields.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. And they can see the product actually growing. We can understand the seasonality of the plants.
Yes.
Corn is not quite ready yet. And, okay, here come the brassicas, and there's the giant pumpkins. All that stuff. It's just fantastic to be able to showcase that. Having the culinary students or the kitchen staff come down and clip fresh herbs is just brilliant.
Wow, that's great. So it must have really helped expand that program as well for Durham College.
Well, I think this sort of symbiotic relationship that we have has really helped nurture both of us, and we really are getting noticed for that system that we've created. And it's, year by year we learn more and more. We're heading into our fourth growing season on those fields in particular.
Okay.
And every year, I've joked with students, and I said, I could be here for another 30 years, and I will see 30 different seasons of growing. And these past 3 years of growing have been absolutely, completely different.
Yes.
And some of the crops that we try, it was 2 years ago we had that blistering heat, and we tried a couple different types of okra just to see which variety worked best, which yielded the best results, and which one the kitchens liked best. And, of course, that blistering heat brought out this bumper crop of okra, and it just kept coming. We were really pushing the chefs to try to find new ways to use okra.
Oh, that must be incredible. And to try new things, yes.
Oh, yeah. And then, the chefs come out and they take a walk around. Oh, can I use the flour on this? Is that edible? It's like, yeah, that's edible. You can use that. and they're finding new ways in which to use the food as well. And so we're learning as well. We've never working with a chef. It's a totally different idea. And when someone is farming, and they're looking at bringing a certain crop to fruition or to the largest size possible, and the chefs come down, they go, no, I want them that small. I want those ones.
Oh,
like,
okay.
So we're learning in our relationship as we move on.
Excellent. And the culinary program's 2 years as well?
Yeah, they have actually a couple of different ways in which to do it. And they also run apprenticeship. So there's a whole host of different ways to go through culinary, as well as event planning and hospitality. And there's a wealth of programs involved with the CFF that all interlace together.
Very, very cool. Just before we go to another listener question, just for those who are tuning in, thank you for tuning into Down the Garden Path here on Reality Radio 101. We are talking to Shane Jones, the horticultural coordinator at Durham College here in Whitby, Ontario. We're actually technically in Oshawa. But if you have any questions about post-secondary horticulture, what the program involves, have you been to the campus? Do you have any experiences to share? Feel free to write in and ask Shane a question. Also, we love to have you say hi. So don't forget, it's at instudio101 at gmail.com. That's instudio101 at gmail.com. And Shane, Peter writes in, he says, what's the actual name of the program? Also, are there any remote campuses to take the course? As Peter's from Hamilton.
I see. The actual name is going to be Horticulture Technician and Horticulture, Food and Farming Technician. Those would be the two programs.
Excellent.
No, we're not offering anything remotely at the moment. As I said, we're still the new kids, trying to run it traditionally, effectively at first, and then we're just going to see where we go from there.
Excellent, yeah. And I think it's kind of hands-on, Peter, for it's something like horticulture. You have to almost be there.
Well, it certainly helps.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a goal line. We actually do have a student who commutes from Hamilton each day.
Oh, wow.
And just takes the GO train in.
Okay. Yeah, so that's doable.
There's an option there for you, Peter.
For sure.
We commute to work. We can commute to school, I
guess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Excellent. Did you want to, you mentioned briefly about the orchard, and I just wondered if you wanted to speak a bit, because I have no knowledge. I don't know about Matthew. I have no knowledge or experience in as far as orchard. That wasn't covered in my certificate. So I'm really intrigued by anything to do with the orchard and the greenhouse.
Great, yeah. Well, the orchard, we have just under 200 apple trees at the moment of different varieties. We have 6 different varieties. And we're looking to expand our fruit production this year. We do have some berry bushes, but we don't have any other large stone fruits or other members of the family yet. We're hoping this year we'll find their permanent spots. But I mean, the apple trees and the orchard themselves, which Algoma was a fantastic partner and donator for, they give our students a chance to see what management of a large space and a large orchard looks like, and the idea of what to look for as far as coincides with IPM and pruning techniques, or how to get better fruiting out of the trees. And it's just a fantastic resource. It's right on the north side of the CFF, so it is kind of tucked away until that road goes through from Thornton across to consumers. We're not going to get a chance to really showcase it.
Okay.
So that's that. We do have other fruit production there. We do have our berry rows and hascaps and currants and blueberries and blackberries and a wealth of raspberries. So all of those are producing right now. We're just waiting for the peaches, plums, cherries. What else? We're also looking at nut trees for our futures, hazelnuts, and more and more.
Right. So have the peach trees been planted and we're just waiting for them to mature, or the plants?
We're hoping to plant them this spring.
Oh, okay.
We're looking for there's a lot of construction that's happened around our pollinator garden.
Yes.
Which put some of our plans on hold. And so we're waiting for that space to be cleaned up from a construction standpoint so that we can get those trees in the ground.
Excellent, excellent. That's something. So we actually have on the station. We have another host who has her own show about fruit trees, right, Gary? So that's something that I'm sure
Yes.
Susan would love to hear more about, or you may love to hear more about Susan. So she's part of a group called Orchard People. So that's her. So she educates people on fruit trees. And she's done a lot of great programs in the city. There's a lot of fruit trees in the city on public property, and educating the people that live near these fruit trees on how to harvest them and how to take care of these trees and stuff like that. So that's kind of a neat aside that comes to my mind when you talk about the orchards. I think of Susan.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We actually have a few other fruit trees in our secondary site. So the Whitby site is our main site for the program, but the horticulture program also shares space at the Parkwood National Historic Site.
Ooh.
And they have a few pear trees as well from back in Sam McLaughlin's days that we would like to take more ownership of.
Okay. That's incredible. I didn't realize that there was a connection now with Parkwood.
Yeah, they were actually our rescuers right from the beginning, in that when the program started, our fields were not there. It was just blasted earth at the Whitby campus. We needed a greenhouse. We needed a space horticulturally, and the Parkwood National Historic Site stepped forward and said we would love to host the students. And it's something that we're just not willing to give up. Even though we have our space at Whitby now, we still hold at least one course there every semester for our hort technician guys.
Oh, wonderful. And they must be happy about that too.
Well, yeah, they're very strapped from a labor standpoint with the grounds that they have to keep up, and they are just gorgeous grounds. And so we give them as much labor as we can to help them keep the place as beautiful as it is.
Excellent, excellent. And that's a historic, Parkwood Estates is an historic, like you said, home here in Oshawa. And it's a public museum as well with the established gardens.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
Just as a pause there.
Yeah,
Yeah. What else? Is there anything else really kind of cool and innovative? Where we talk about the orchard, they have the greenhouse there.
Yeah, I haven't even told you about the greenhouse.
Yeah, the greenhouse.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go for that one. Again, we have a couple of different ways in which we showcase growing food, whether it be, like low tunnel, passive solar type cold frames, or we have a double poly unheated hoop house, all the way up to our larger greenhouse, which is computer system controlled and all the bells and whistles. We showcase a few different types of irrigation systems through that greenhouse, and what we try to do is utilize it as much as possible to keep food going, as it were, in different ways even. So during the spring, always, or I guess winter semester, we get an order from the baking professor who asks if we can produce pansies, because she uses them for edibles.
Oh.
She makes lollipops, and they use them in various different ways. So
Okay.
we're sort of past the pansy crop now, so they're actually getting ready to move on to the rest of the campus. But what else do we have in there? We partner also with GM to help rebuild monarch butterfly habitat. So we have, I think, 1,200 milkweed growing at the moment,
excellent.
ready to be potted on.
Okay.
As well as starting all of our seedlings. We look to use the greenhouse as not only a space or a vehicle to teach the different things that we need to, but also to keep producing food or to keep producing crops year round as we can.
Excellent. So tell us more. So I didn't know about So there's a connection with General Motors and the Monarchs?
Yes. So there's a gentleman that approached us a few years back, Bill Craig, who asked if we would be willing to host a little bit of space, he said, so that they could start to reestablish monarch butterfly habitat along Lake Ontario and so forth, and kind of partnering with our environmental technologist students up in the North Campus as well. And we said, yeah, of course, we'd love to.
Yeah.
Because we know that it's all one big, cool, integrated ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So, they come in with a few people who volunteer from GM and help to plant the seeds and then come and do transplants. Actually, this week coming, we'll be transplanting up. And then once they're ready, they'll take them either to the festival in the spring, or they'll plant them in the shores, and we'll take a few up to the North Campus, as well as put a few in our our pollinator garden.
Excellent. So the employees are actually going to go and plant them.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's excellent.
That's really neat.
Yeah, that is great. That's great to hear. So yeah.
Anytime that we can get community onto that property, all the better, because it's a great learning space, and as we build our arboretum and as we continue with our fields and the bistro and so forth, it's not just about the students who are there. We want to make sure that property, as an idea, is accessible to everybody, and that we all get a chance to really see that functioning.
Wow, that's great. So is there more expansion coming, do you think?
There's still quite a bit left to do. I think I've got a few years before I consider that property done.
Oh, okay.
We have our arboretum that we continue to build. So our Parkwood Estate, the Parkwood Historic Site, is fantastic for specimens of trees that you'll just not see anywhere else in their maturity.
Yeah.
But because they're a historic site, we can't just plant whatever we want. It has to conform to Parks Canada's ideas as to a National Historic Place and so forth.
Right.
So we have to fill in those gaps, like if we want to plant Dawn Redwood or London Plane Tree, all that stuff has to happen in our arboretum.
Oh, okay.
So we have our little space there where we're starting to build our library collection of plants.
Excellent.
Very, very cool.
That is very cool. Yeah.
Email question. Ron writes in, besides the crop grown for the bistro, are there any farmers markets or stands that the public can purchase crops from the students or the campus?
That is a great question.
That's a great idea, Ron.
It's you know what? It's something that we're working towards. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but it's always been on our radar right from the beginning. Even just because we get better at growing in those fields, and as we start to build up soil and soil profile, we're producing more food, and we hate to see food goes to waste.
Yeah.
So we're looking at markets, CSAs, other ways in which we can continue that, and we just kind of bite off a little bit more each year and expand a little bit more as we get better at it.
Excellent.
So the market is coming.
Right. Excellent. Well, there you go, Ron. The market is coming. Excellent. Thank you for that question. That's a good one.
That is a very, very good question. Another question I had was, we've been talking about this really exciting, cool, interactive campus you have. Is it open to the public, or do you guys give any tours of all the neat things that you guys are doing?
We certainly have done tours in the past, and there's been some, whether we're on the tours of the certain gardens within the area, or whether it be private organizations that want to come out for events and all that, and they want to get a tour of the gardens. Whenever we have our end of harvest festival.
Ooh.
Okay. So each year we do our big harvest dinner, where we put tables all along the walkways right out by the field, and more than 100 guests come out to eat dinner that has been produced in the kitchens with the food that we've made in the fields. And we do tours then as well. And I know that we just continue to add things on. So, yeah, the bistro is obviously a public place. Any guests that are at the bistro, I invite you to come down to the fields, and I'll be running around like a madman like usual, but I always have time for people and their questions. And anyone who wants to see the gardens up close, come on down.
Oh, excellent. I would love to see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to come on down.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely come on down and introduce myself. I just think it's brilliant. And I think it's so wonderful that we have the land and the space here in Durham region to do something like this. And I think, especially since it's a new program, I feel like it's just such a breakthrough program.
We like to think we're doing something special.
Yeah.
But, I mean, our space is not massive, in comparison to some of the other programs that are out there. And I just want people to realize that they don't need, 10 acres
right.
to do something as incredible as this. We have, at best, an acre of edibles being produced at the moment. And and I think we're doing something pretty good.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Amazing that acre is feeding like the restaurant and creating all that beautiful food and
impacting all those students too. So think of all
Exactly.
all the different programs that are coming into contact with the students. I think that is really good, for sure. And I mean, I went to Ryerson, and the professor would stop by Mount Pleasant Cemetery in Toronto and take cuttings and bring those into class so that we could learn about the woody plants and the trees, our deciduous trees and our evergreens. So I mean, when you're downtown Toronto, you don't have acres and acres either. I mean, that was certainly the specimens there were amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It's another historic site.
Absolutely. So we learned a lot and talk about hands-on learning there, right? But so this has even gotten a step further. So I think it's incredible.
Well, I think it's important for all of us programs. I mean, we all have unique spaces, and I think we're all creating something unique, whether it be the Cuddy Gardens at Fanshawe or the Humber Arboretum. And we have the Parkwood Estate and our fields at Whitby campus. We're all creating something unique. And really, every student out there that's thinking about getting into horticulture or going through the post-secondary systems, you need to go and visit these campuses to really get an idea as to where you feel you fit.
Right.
You can't see it on the internet. Well, I guess you can't to a degree.
Yeah.
We can now these days, right? But it really, there's some great programs out there. I think we're creating a unique and really pretty amazing program.
Absolutely. And Irene is commenting as well. She's saying, hi, Joanne and Matt. Very nice show this evening. And she says that it's so refreshing to see that colleges are doing something for food, crops, etc. Farming is a dying livelihood, and that is scary. No food, no people.
Well, yeah, it's not wrong. And there aren't a lot of agricultural programs. And I think maybe that there is a belief out there that it's the older generation's game and that the younger people aren't getting in. But I'd like to prove that wrong and letting you know that we have a lot of really young, enthusiastic people coming into these programs, food and farming especially, and people who are graduates of university coming back, people who are looking and enthusiastic about urban agriculture or just different ways, permaculture, full circle systems, and just across the spectrum of different ways in which we can grow from traditional all the way through. And it's really refreshing and heartening to see that agriculture is not a dying profession. It's thriving.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's good to know.
Yes, that's very encouraging.
What were you going to say? So Matthew
No,
something.
sorry,
Oh, okay. So now I
Sorry.
have to ask, I think you kind of alluded to it when you talked about the demand for jobs. So I'm going to say the word. I'm going to ask Shane about how has the recent change in laws about cannabis and all of that growing, has that kind of seen in, is that somewhere Durham College is going, or has that created more of an interest in horticultural studies? Just the
Absolutely
demand,
it has.
the
Absolutely
demand.
it has.
Yeah.
With that many jobs coming into our area and our profession, it can't help but impact it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then certainly there's a lot of people who have graduated from our program that are already working in industry.
Wow.
There's so many employers out there, and people say, "Hey, give me your 40 best, graduates right now." It's like, maybe not that much yet, but I'm doing what I can.
Yes. Yeah.
It has impacted for the industry for sure, and we are seeing more people drawn to horticulture because of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we recognize that it's something that we have to address, and we do so within our curriculum, and we're looking to build more so within our curriculum, but we're not going to address it quite yet as a standalone program, only because we're still growing as our original programs.
Right.
And there are a few other people or institutions that are starting to develop postgraduate certificates and so forth, and we're really looking on kind of building on that, kind of seeing where things going, and continually addressing it and making sure that our students are ready for the industry.
Excellent. And like everything you're teaching is so transferable. Like
It is.
to go from a horticultural technician to a post diploma program on cannabis, or I don't know what they're calling it, but
Cannabis.
Are they okay? Sounds better than pot production, I guess. But
Sure.
same thing. But so all the skills you're learning and everything's growing something. There's some different stages and different little things to do with, regardless of whether it's a fruit, vegetable, that type of thing. But it's still the same skills, right? There's still the same knowledge. It's
Plants still need what plants need.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So
we do. Like we talked about specific crops, and obviously the students were learning about growing pansies specifically, or even pruning tomatoes is similar to pruning cannabis in that. There are a lot of similarities in some of the things that we teach, even if we don't have the actual, cannabis plant on property. There's skills are skills, and knowledge is the same. So we just introduce it in our ways and make sure that our students are ready.
Excellent. Well, that's great.
I guess just as we wrap up here, one thing I wanted to ask about was Durham's and your students' involvement in the skills competition.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know Skills Ontario, and then you can win and go to Skills Canada. So what is Skills, and how are you guys being involved in it?
I'll address the what is Skills first, because I'm always just so taken back by how many people don't know what Skills as a contest is. Skills Canada, Skills Ontario. It is this massive contest that involves every trade and vocation that you could possibly think of, be it culinary arts or airplane mechanic. It goes across everything. And, of course, horticulture landscaping is one of the contests at Skills. This big, for lack of a better word, almost like the sports tournament of the trades that happens every year, usually locally first within the secondary systems, like the high school systems. And then it culminates into the large Skills Ontario that's going to happen this year at the Congress Trade Show, actually at the beginning of May, coming up very quickly. And our contest includes a team of 2 for 2 days, and they're going to build a landscape. They're going to do retaining walls, some pavers, some planting. They're going to do a little bit of woodworking. They're going to have all of those elements to create this garden that's about 15 feet by 15 feet or maybe more. And the best will have a chance to move on to the national contest that takes place in Edmonton.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah,
and
very cool.
If they win there, whoever wins the national contest representing Canada will actually get to move on to a world's contest that happens up in Russia this year.
Very neat. I didn't know it went to actually the world stage as well.
It does. Our contest goes right to the world.
Wow.
That's so cool. So how far have any of your students gone?
Well,
have they made it to the world?
For the first couple of years, I would say that we just kind of kept it a little bit light. And I've been involved with Skills for more than a decade myself, but Durham College didn't really push forward until the last couple of years. The last 2 years, actually, we've won gold and represented nationally.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
So this year, we have a chance to run the dynasty to a third year. It's such a tight contest, and I mean every school and every representative from post-secondary, like competing against the Fanshaws, Algonquin, and Humber, and St. Clair. Like these are all amazing schools. Niagara Park School of Horticulture. Mm-hmm. It really comes down to they've all been taught well to win that game. So fingers crossed.
Wow,
So,
that is exciting.
And very impressive for you've been there for 6 years and you've got 2 skills golds under your belts already. That's pretty cool. Very impressive.
Well, which is why I think we can say that we've made it. We're there as far as our abilities and the other colleges are concerned. We've definitely shown that the new kids are not necessarily to be kicked around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because you're new too, you're able to kind of really target your program to what the needs are. So I think that is another, benefit sometimes, right, to being the new kid on the block.
Well, to a degree, but
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Really, the skills that are required for the contest, the skills contest, are really the basics of horticulture in construction, as it were. There's also a landscape design contest, which has come on in the last, I want to say 5-6 years ago.
Really?
Actually, probably more like 7-8 now. Gosh,
Okay.
time goes by. It's just the basics of horticulture, which is why I think it's a fantastic benchmark for the students and how much they've learned and how much they've progressed.
Excellent. But is there a diploma degree or diploma program specifically for landscape design, or is it just rolled in with the Hort Tech program?
Right now, it's just within the Hort Technician program.
Okay, cool. Well, Matthew and I would be very keen if it ever expands, right? We have 2 local landscape designers here.
Well, it very well could end up being that way. And then, as we continue to build reputation and students make that demand, I am more than willing to start with landscape design as well.
Yeah. Again, because of nothing east of the GTA exists, right?
That's
So
it.
all of us are having to go, like you said, Niagara Parks, Ryerson, Humber, they're all kind of West End type of schools, which are all amazing schools.
Yep.
And I know I did mine continuing ed with 2 little kids at home, so that wasn't an option for me, right? So
That's it. Yeah,
You know.
I did the same thing, and that commute every day to Humber was not fun.
Oh, did you see? And I just commuted to I did my continuing ed, so 1 night a week to Ryerson, so I was able to pull it off that way. So where there's a will, there's a way, right?
That's it.
Excellent. Well, I'm so excited that we were able to learn so much more about the program, and I think we've had so many people asking questions. So I think we've got a lot of listeners and a lot of interest, Shane. So anytime you want to talk and let us know what's going on, we'd happy to have you on again.
Well, I'd love to come back again. Thank you so much for this opportunity and the chance to speak with you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And we'll let you know, Matt will let you know the link to the podcast. So we'll be releasing it as a podcast, and you can also promote it and let people that are interested who might have missed it tonight, tune in and listen at a later time.
Well, that's fantastic. And I really hope to see you soon down at the fields so I can give you a
Excellent.
tour myself.
Excellent. Well, that would be great.
We will take you up on that.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you very much, Joanne.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Wow. Well, that was really fascinating.
Very fascinating. Very fascinating. Lots of things going on that little campus, and
Yeah.
and all horticultural campuses across Ontario and
Yes.
wherever you go.
Yeah.
So definitely, I was there. I was lucky to go there and
Oh, did you? Okay.
get a very brief little kind of walk around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing that Shane would, I'm sure, give us. But so the Bistro 67 is absolutely amazing, and the campus is just beautiful, despite it being young and construction nearby. So if you're local, definitely get down there and take a look. For sure.
That's right. And eating there, have you been there to eat? Yes.
It's delicious.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely
For sure.
world class.
And Gary, we definitely have to get you to take Elaine there. It's a good spot.
You know what? I'd love to go there. I actually, I go by the Bistro all the time, right? And I just never stop in,
I
right?
know.
So,
and it does look like he said, everybody thinks it's a lab, so it
Yeah.
does look very academic.
yeah. But it's
so
a cool logo on the outside of
For
the building
sure.
and
Yeah.
everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that they did raise it, so the restaurant is on the second floor.
Yeah.
For the whole purpose of, and of course there's an elevator, a purpose of being able to see the fields.
Yeah.
So I think that is that's so much forethought. went into
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
for
Really
sure.
nice.
For sure.
And I
So-
love to eat,
Yeah,
of course.
we all do. And the freshness, you can just tell. Like, it is just a
It's
really
fresh.
cool experience.
Yeah, very cool.
So that is definitely a gem here in Durham region. And for our listeners that are in closer into Toronto, it's worth the drive to Durham
Worth
to
the
check
drive.
out Bistro 67. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We do want to remind everybody where they can reach us.
Exactly. So you can reach me at naturalAffinityDesigns.ca. Also, Natural Affinity Designs on Instagram, and at Nat Affinity at Twitter. And you can find Joanne at
My website, which is downtoearth.ca with the number 2. And my Instagram and Twitter are both Joanne Shaw _D2E. And there you'll also follow us with our podcast. We'll release this show by the end of the week into a podcast. And we do want to encourage any of our listeners who do tune into the podcast to please do that review, on Apple Podcasts. We really need a few reviews to kind of get noticed out there. So it really does help. And especially since we're heading into the garden season, we want other people to know about the program, about all the stuff that we're giving, these great information and these great guests. And we just want to get the word out. So we need your help to do that, right?
That's it. We need your help to grow, and we can all grow together.
That's right. That's right. So we're helping you grow your plants. We need you guys to help us grow our radio show and our podcast. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Looking forward to next week's episode, which will have a design focus. But right now, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Joanne, and Rita, Dwayne, Kyle, Peter, Ron, and Irene for writing in. Thanks, everybody, for listening to another episode of Down the Garden Path on Reality Radio 101.
Excellent.
Thank you for listening to Down the Garden Path with your hosts, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101.